How's it going, Diablo fans? My name is Switch209, and in today's video I'm going to go over some topics that need to be covered a little bit more or clarified for the upcoming Diablo 4 updates. This could be for things that are going to be talked about at BlizzCon Line next year, or anything that's going to precede it as the game goes further into development. I've come up with a list of 6 different things that I feel need to be covered or clarified more from the previous quarterly updates, and there will be timestamps in the video description for anybody that wants to be able to skip through the different topics instead of watching the entire video. I hope you guys will enjoy the video. Let's dig in.
Now I think you shall have your reward.
Number 1. Item slotting in your inventory and stash. When talking about itemization, I feel that it is important to not just discuss the numbers and the qualities of the item, but also the sizing and how it can fit within the player's stash and inventory space. Compared to the sizing of Diablo 3, which, in my opinion, doesn't give most items justice, I feel that the sizing for everything should be kept similar to Diablo 2. For example, body armor took up 6 spaces, 2 across and 3 down. Sword sizes should differ between a dagger and a longsword. Health potions, scrolls, and keys should only take up 1 space. What this does is it helps to keep a more realistic sense of worth for what could and should be picked up. If everything was the same size, then there's no reason to not pick everything up. But if everything had different sizes, then you would have to make decisions on what to pick up and what to skip, because would 8 spaces for a scythe be worth picking up versus spaces for potions and or other items? Number 2. Implementing any inspirations from the previous mods of the previous games. There are multiple different modifications that people use for Diablo 2, for example. The most popular right now being Project Diablo 2. However, that mod has a lot of different implications that have come from previous mods. And even Project Diablo 2 has a mod within a mod that can be installed, called Pluggy. Pluggy is arguably the most universally used modification for Diablo 2. Also, another mod that I'll cover is Path of Diablo. Both of these mods have great features that are revered by the community as a whole and were originals for these implementations. For example, Pluggy, a single-player mod, has shared stash for all characters you create, unlimited stash pages, extra character information on the additional pages of the stats page, and a player X command to increase or decrease the player count within the game difficulty. For Path of Diablo, another single-player mod, there is a built-in loot filter, increased stash space, and a regular inventory versus your charms inventory to keep your charms separate to save space for other items you may pick up or need to carry during your game. Having some of the aspects of a successful mod will help with a more enjoyable gameplay for those both on single player and multiplayer gaming, as so many people regularly play Diablo 2 with a mod unless playing ladder or on Battle.net. Making the right updates to the game would be a great addition to have to the itemization that's been talked about for the game, as a lot of the modding has focused on itemization, whether it be for the stats or the storage space for Holy Grailing. Number 3. Clarifying new monster qualities and how they will work compared to previous monster qualities for Diablo 1 through Diablo 3. There have been new monster qualities introduced to us through the quarterly updates that I feel are worth discussing, such as A. Vulnerable monster. What makes a monster become vulnerable? How does it no longer become vulnerable? Is this something that's going to have to do with resistances that you can tailor an entire build around? This is the stat that I saw that I just had the most questions about. B. Knocked down monsters versus knocked back monsters, such as in Diablo 2. Are they going to be easier to knock down with certain characters, class weapons, and skills? If it's by random chances, is it necessary for them to be classified as knocked down important enough for this change versus knocked back monsters? Will the stat to knock down monsters be featured on different item classes such as swords, shields, etc., that a build could be centered around it for increased power and or farming purposes? Will knockdown monsters be limited to general monsters fought throughout the game, or could bosses be knocked down to give the stat greater value to a build? C. Immobilized monsters versus stunned monsters such as in Diablo 2. Would this be the same type of quality to the monster, just a new wording, or an entirely new quality? D. Elite and non-elite monsters. Is this a new name change compared to something of the past, like champions and boss packs for Diablo 2, or something new entirely? At the end of the day, my biggest question for these monster qualities would be, would adding new qualities, not for replacing the old ones, benefit the game, or possibly overcomplicate the game where players would still be having to carry around lots of items in their inventory space to be ready for whatever new monster quality comes their way? I understand that with a new game, it's important to have unique wording and ideas to keep it intriguing. However, I feel the devs have put the depth of the game into areas that previously were great as they were and didn't need further additions. Adding new monster qualities to make for even more diversity is one of those I feel should be looked at again and possibly redone to not overly complicate the already diverse stats being added to the game. Number 4. Clarifying the Sorceress enchantment skill slot and if it is interchangeable or if it is permanent as a passive skill until respecking. The Q3 update wasn't clear on if the skill, once put into the enchantment slot, would not be interchangeable or if it could be swapped for another skill down the line. This could go two separate ways depending on how you think of that enchantment slot. The first scenario, if it is not interchangeable, meaning intentionally or not, once the skill was set inside of it and it becomes passive, it would take respecking the character to change it. Or once the skill was placed into the enchantment slot, it can no longer be one of the hotkey skills from F1 to F8. However, it can be switched out for another skill and made into a new hotkey skill to use. This is not the most trying of ideas to talk about, but one to hopefully shed light upon, especially for all of the Sorceress fans awaiting their chance to try her new character out. Number 5. The leveling system. The max level attainable in accordance with the skill and stat points to use. The Q3 update stated that they were wanting the ideal endgame skill tree to only have 30 to 40% of it filled out, with each level giving 2 skill points per level as stated in the Q4 update. It's important to speak on the character level max to better understand the amount of points that could be given to use on the skill tree. Diablo Immortal at launch will have a max level of 60 but with fewer skills, and with the skill tree for Diablo 4 having over 50 total skills, nodes, and passive points along the routes, if the goal isn't for a high max level to help balance the now 2 skill points compared to Diablo 2 giving 1 per level, that is something to clarify. If the system is linear towards the end of the branches, such as a skill toward the trunk of the tree with nodes and upgrades continuing on, not prerequisites to unlock skills such as in Diablo 2, and I'm mentioning this because in the Q4 update they stated that they were reworking the skill tree, then that could better explain why so little of the tree would be used at the endgame, regardless of the max level of the character. Any clarification or update would help better understand the direction being taken on both the tree and why the doubling of skill points per level increases without the stat points increasing as well. Number 6. Boss fights. Can you town portal away? Or once you start, you have to stay until you win or die? It's been a debate amongst veteran players on whether it should be an implementation that once you start fighting a boss, that you have to stay within the fight, or if you can leave to restock or heal since the boss cannot do that for themselves, possibly adding a penalty of the boss gaining a certain level of health back to compensate, possibly even their full health. That or disabling town portal use to add more value to how your character build is done and create more risk versus reward feel for when the boss is defeated. Another thing, as Diablo 4 will be an MMO for world events, that it would be a good idea as any new player within a specific window of time could join the event, to help reduce those that would only join for the kill to gain experience and to grab the loot as it drops, taking away the value of the effort from those that did all the work. 1. Once the boss is down to a certain percentage of health, nobody else can enter the world event to keep it fair for those already within it. 2. If a character goes beyond a certain limit of space from the event, they are treated as defeated by the boss regardless if they are alive or not, and cannot re-enter the event until it is finished. 3. Anyone that town portals away is also treated as defeated by the boss and will not be able to enter the portal until it is finished. 4. If everyone dies that was actively a part of the event, the boss disappears and everyone then has to wait until the next spawning to try joining again. Similar to how Diablo clone is once the character dies, he is gone until the next spawning of a new game. These possible implementations would help keep the game fresh for all players and give them a better understanding of the stakes and risk of the harder aspects of the game, the boss fights, and hopefully help characters grasp the importance of farming and leveling characters throughout the game, as consequences for not doing so could cost them in more ways than one. That's going to be it for my list of topics to cover and clarify in upcoming Diablo 4 updates. Do you agree with my list? What ideas or aspects of the game already gone over do you feel need more insight, as well as what are you hopeful for Blizzard adding to the game that you may enjoy from current games you're playing? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and share it with others to help get more players to share their own ideas. As the devs have said, they are listening to us and watching our takes on their updates. So the more people that share their thoughts, the better this game has a chance of becoming. Hit the subscribe button if you want more content like this, and hit the bell notification to be notified whenever a new video comes out. I'll see you in the next video. I hope you have a great day and had a great holiday. Take care and stay safe.